Hi everyone, I hope you guys are all well. You'll be seeing this Tuesday late afternoon / evening because it's currently Tuesday morning, it's 7 a.m. I'm getting ready for work and I need to shoot this review in order to then upload it after work tonight. So thus I'm in this, wet hair, odd outfit kind of state, but oh well. Now, the reason why, as I said, I'm shooting this so early is so that I can upload it straight after work tonight because my broadband is so crap. It takes hours to upload one of my reviews. And also because of the book I've been reading. I had hoped to finish it on Sunday evening, but I didn't quite get it because I didn't quite get to the end because I was so busy with other stuff over the weekend. So I actually finished it last night, so about 12 hours ago actually. And it shook me up a bit. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take the evening, take the night, and then film this review the next day. So you're getting a Tuesday review this time. And the book I have been reading is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. Now this is the sequel to A Discovery of Witches and the second book in what is known as the All Souls trilogy. And I decided I'm not going to do a reading for this because I realised that I kind of, bend the corner of pages or passages that I think might be good to read when I do my reviews as I go along. And then I figure out which one I'm going to read, and then I read it during my review. Usually I bumble through it because I get very nervous when I'm reading on camera. I don't know why, and I end up messing it all up. But oh well. You think by now, like over 170 reviews, I'd be okay with it now. Still bumble it up every time. But that's by the by. So yeah, usually I turn the corners, then I can choose a passage to read. Unfortunately, when I went back to figure out which one I was going to read, I realised that every single one of those times I had inadvertently picked a segment that becomes a massive plot deal later on in the book. So I was a bit like, oh God, I can't really read any of these. And also because obviously there may be people who are reading the first book, I didn't want to then spoil something that they haven't even come across the contemplation of having yet, of being possible yet in the first book, which is now possible in the second. You see what I mean? So I was a bit like, you know what, because this second book, I've decided I'm going to take a step back from reading this time. So you're not going to get me bumbling through a reading today. But Shadow of Night takes place pretty much exactly after the final chapter of Discovery of Witches. There's no time block. But then you could argue there is, because Diana and Matthew, through the course of A Discovery of Witches, find themselves needing to go back in time. I'm not going to reveal why, because again, it's a spoiler thing, but they go back to Elizabethan England, 1590 to be exact. And this book takes place the moment, well, it begins, the very first page is them arriving in a heap on the floor in 1590 and follows their time there. They're determined to only try as best as they can to find Ashmole 782, the mysterious book which has caused them so much trouble in our present time. And because Ashmole 782 had 3 pages that were missing, so they want to discover what those pages were. But also Diana's magic is changed by going back in the past, and she needs a teacher to teach her how to use her magic, this new strain, as it were, of magic. I'll call it strain because there was a certain word I was going to use there which actually is a spoiler for something, so I'm like, nope, be careful. A new strain of magic, and how she is able to control it. Okay, so that's our premise of the book. So we're carrying on, but we're in the past. a few chapters are actually in the present as well. So what this book does is that it's split up over into about 4 or 5 parts, and the last chapter of one part before you go into the next is set in the present, and we follow other characters who are very important to us and find out what is happening with them. So yeah, so you are kind of doing a bit of time jumping, but it's very subtle. So it's not, 50-50 split or anything. The majority of this is in the past, which I absolutely love. Now, I have to say straight off the mark, if you have read A Discovery of Witches, or you are reading A Discovery of Witches, expect Shadow of Night to be completely different. It is totally structured a completely different way. Characters are acting and doing and saying things that make no sense, but they will do by the end of the book, trust me. It is jarring. It is jarring, I will say that. The second book, and it never jarred me enough to go, I'm really not into this at all. Nothing like that, but it does feel like you're on completely uneven ground. That is the reason why is because there is so much about the past and Matthew's past that needs to be addressed. I'm trying to pick my words very carefully here, people. I'm trying to be spoiler free. That needs to be addressed, and it's going to be rough. It's going to break your bloody heart, but it needs to happen. It's important that it happens. But what I think about the structuring, although it is very different, it's bloody brilliant at the same time, because there's a whole element to do with magic. It's not necessarily just a spell zap, there you go. It's not straight line. It's in a way weaving, that you're taking threads, you're combining them together, threads of different elements of things, you're combining them together to form something which becomes a spell, which then happens. And in a way, Deborah's doing that with this book. It starts, there's rough seas, there's a fluidity that it's jarring, it's weird, and then she brings in this element, these beautiful elements which all relate to movement and have a fluidity, which the structuring of sentences has a fluidity as well, to bring together to form this wondrous thing and present it to us. And it's such a great payoff later on in the book. It really, really is. So take the rough with the smooth is what I would say. If you're reading this and you're finding it jarring, it is important why it is that way. There is a massive payoff for this, trust me. I did also love, in relation to that, the bringing together elements and binding them and weaving them and sending them out into the final thing. She has this wonderful fluidity of her sentences as well, and imagery, because there are things like dancing and the way you move your arms. There's things like sword fighting and the way that you move your body, and it all, as I said, the movements of water, the fluidity. There's this beautiful sensual ease about it, even though there may be some uneasy things going on and it's brutal. At the same time, there's a beautiful calmness about it. And I think it is that thing, it's the weaving. It's, you're collecting all the elements, and some of them are shouting and some of them are crazy, and then you combine them together and you're smoothing them out, which is what she does, bringing in that sensual kind of stuff, and then it builds into something which is absolutely stunning and beautiful, which is sent out into the atmosphere. And so I really feel like Deborah is constructing her writing in this book like the spells that Diana constructs, and it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Now, new characters, I absolutely loved the new characters. It was absolutely stunning, because obviously Diana is a historian. she knows all about the past and such. And there are a lot of characters. There's a certain group of characters in this book who Matthew is really good friends with, who happen to be a bit famous, as you would have probably guessed from reading A Discovery of Witches. He's known quite a few famous people over the years. And it was just a bit like, I felt like Diana at times. I'm like, oh my God. Oh wow, this is amazing. I can't believe it. It just gave me such a buzz to read all of these characters, and at the same time, they are her characters. So she can work with them however she likes and such, but she still keeps them very human. She doesn't bog you down, which I really respected her for this. As a historian, you could have expected her to, bog down on certain details that you don't, it's just too heavy. She doesn't do that. And what she just gives you what you need to know and such. And what I love is that by writing from Diana's point of view, she is able, through Diana, to tell you, and she specifically says, people who write historic fiction have been lying, because there's no way that this distinct thing that Diana says is that there's no way a woman in full Elizabethan wear can have sex, like, the way that is depicted in various films, books, TV. Not possible. And I just loved that bluntness and how she talks about having to have another petticoat and all of this stuff. I really loved that. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, I felt really buzzed when we met characters who were real. But Diana's given her own spin on things, and some people who you think that you can trust, you can't necessarily trust, and vice versa. So it was really interesting to try and figure out, who we should keep an eye on. But there's one character who I absolutely adore, and I am so frigging excited to see him depicted in the TV series, and that's a guy called Gallowglass. So he's a really good friend of Matthew's, and I'm not going to say any more because I'm going to reveal spoilers otherwise. But my God, he is like Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings. He is weather beaten. He can be a bit rough. He has seen a lot. But my God, he has got the purest heart and soul, and I adore him so much. And I'm so petrified that something could happen to him in the third book, but because I really don't want him to something bad to happen to him, because I love him so much. But I'm so excited for the TV series to find out how they're going to depict him. And Steve McCree, who's cast as him, oh my God, I've seen the picture and he looks so fabulous as Gallowglass. It's going to be amazing. I think also for the TV series, Matthew Goode is going to have some amazing material to work with this series. Like there's a lot of baggage that Matthew has in this book, and I think Matthew's going to, because Matthew is such a good actor. Matthew Goode, because obviously he shares first name with this character. Matthew Goode is such a good actor, and he's going to knock it out of the park. I know he is. I'm not even troubled at the thought of can he possibly, not in the slightest. I'm just, how he's going to play certain lines that he says, his character says, in this book, especially linking to two very important people from his life. If you've read the first book, you know who I'm talking about. How he's going to tell that story. I'm very excited for that. Very excited. So in comparison to Discovery of Witches, I think I preferred A Discovery of Witches, but then this book, as I said, it's structured very differently and it's quite jarring, but it's not bad at all. It's structured that way for a purpose, and my God, especially near the end of the book, I was doing like ridiculous like gasps and bursting into tears, stuff like that, because it really, there's a section of it near the end of the book which completely knocked me. I was just like, oh Wow, Deborah, you went there, girl. Oh my God, I can't believe you just did this. It knocked me for six, and because of the structuring, it was things were happening where, like at the moment, at the end of this book, this is not, I'm not giving any spoilers, of course, because like I've said, we as a reader know something. The characters in the present know something. Deborah and Matthew know nothing. And my God, when they find out, oh God, that is going to kill me. That is going to hurt so much. So much. So yeah, so I finished this book like happy, yet heartbroken, yet feel like I've been in a boxing match with Mike Tyson to feeling joyous, to every emotion under the sun I went through reading this book, and I'm really excited to move on to the next one. And all the new characters were absolutely wonderful. There was some tough going, especially with meeting other members of Matthew's family in the past. But wow, it was epic. It was amazing. So I'm very excited for the TV series as well. Right, so to summarize, Shadow of Night, would I read this again? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think what I need to do is I need to get through the final book and then revisit and do a whole, like I've done the three books in a row. Well, I didn't quite do 3 books in a row because I had The Devil in the White City between the first and second book. But yeah, maybe I need to when I read them back to back, so I've got the full fluidity. And it's interesting how, looking back, characters who I thought were good guys weren't, and vice versa, to see them now right back at the beginning again and pick up on things that I missed, I'm really excited about, actually. So yes, I would read this again. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yes, I certainly would, but I would, as I have already said, be prepared for it to be quite jarring with its structuring compared to the first book, but go with it. There is a massive payoff at the end. You'll know what I mean. Would I read any more Deborah Harkness's books? Well, yes, of course I would, because she's amazing. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, it was fun, it was witty, it was so sad, it was startling. I went through every emotion under the sun. I am still like feeling the effects of it this morning, but my God, it was absolutely fantastic. And so I loved Shadow of Night. Okay, so those are my thoughts on Shadow of Night. I will put the trailer to the series 2 of Discovery Witches, which comes out in January here in the UK. I'm very excited about it. And because I've got Sky, and it's Sky Original, it means that I can have access to the full box set when it gets released. So I'm going to binge it. I know I'm going to binge it. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, I'll put the trailer to that down below, and my God, it looks so good. So have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below, or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tap it to yell at your side. I'll be back with my thoughts after reading the next book, which of course is the final book of the trilogy, the Book of Life. And once again, I'm not reading the blurb on the back. I don't want any slight spoilers. I am going to this spoiler free because, oh, hot damn, I need it to be. Yeah, so I am very excited, but I'm very scared and nervous and every emotion under the sun about this book. But yeah, I'll be back with my thoughts once I finish the Book of Life. All right, guys, bye.